Hello and welcome. Today I want to share an easy technique of paper weaving inside my journal. But first I wanted to share with you some previous paper weavings that I made. That one with the leaf is made with coffee filters, and I used one coffee filter on the back and then attached the strips of other coffee filters to it, weaving them as I went along, and then I sewed around the edge, as you can see. Added some other things. This one is made with some painted papers, and I did the same thing. I attached the strips of paper to another piece of paper, which you'll see in a moment. There it is. And then I added some paint on top of that and sewed around the edges too, and added some other bits and pieces. So this is an example of what I'm going to do today. I did this in no, I'm sorry. This one is not an example exactly of what I'm going to do today. With this one, I just glued it onto the page of my journal after I did the paper weaving. But now I'm going to show you how I also do this technique right in the pages of my journal. I had this background that I had just used as a place to put extra paints and things like that. That's what the other side looks like, and I was debating between which one to use, so I finally decided to stick with the first one that you saw. So I pulled out some papers just kind of randomly, and I'm cutting them into strips. I'm going to intersperse them with some book pages. I like to do that technique and add a little bit of, I don't know, contrast, I guess. And after I do the paper weaving, if the colors aren't cohesive or don't look right, you can add paint on top of that, which I will do, so you'll see that later. Now, if you want a more precise paper weaving, you can cut your strips using a cutting board, but you know, I'm just winging it here and I'm quite happy with the way it looks. I've done this before and it worked out fine. I'm going to cut right into my journal, and I'm going to make each cut a little bit shorter, as you can see each cut as I go along, because I want it to kind of be in the paper weaving be kind of in that right hand corner and at a diagonal. So I'm not measuring anything, I'm just kind of winging it, like I said. You'll see how it turns out. Hopefully you'll like it too. I'm absolutely fine with that. So because I have that top piece there is the longest, I have to start with putting a piece there and just figure out how I want to have it look. That's what it looks like in the back. Later on, I'll be gluing some of these pieces down. So paper weaving, if you've never tried it, is pretty easy. You have your strips going horizontally and vertically, and you just weave the vertical pieces, well, both really, just weave them in and out, one over, one under, as you can see there. So if the top piece, the yellow one, I start out going under, then the next one I want to go over, and that way that's how the weaving happens. I hope that makes sense. So again, I'm going to use the book pages in between some of the colors and see how that looks. So I'm going to just keep doing that, weaving the papers over and under, alternating. So I'm showing you there. I went under, over, and now I'm going to go under again. And each time, because my my cuts are going getting shorter, I'm actually able to weave the paper a little bit farther each time. So I'm just want to adjust each piece of paper as I go along, and the weaving actually holds it together for the most part, and then at the end I'm going to glue down the little pieces that stick out on the right side and on the bottom, and you'll see how I do that. So again, just adjusting everything to be fairly snug. It's not perfect, like I said, but I'm okay with that. I've said it probably every video that I record, that I don't go strive for perfect, and I'm happy with my wonkiness. I really do often enjoy just kind of winging my mixed media to see how it works out as I go along. Okay, there I am at the end. I've gotten to the bottom. That's what it looks like on the other side, which I don't mind at all. So now I'm going to glue those pieces that are kind of loose there. And like I said, the woven part towards the middle there is pretty secure. I just need to trim the longer pieces and then glue those down to the page, and you'll see that. I'm using my glue stick. Very often I get comments about glue sticks not holding well, but I have been using the Uhu glue stick for many years and I really haven't had a problem with it. I think you have to use a good quality glue stick. For the most part, I use it for things that I make, so if I ever do have a problem, something becomes unglued, I can just fix it myself. It was recommended by an artist whose work I admire, so I thought, well, if she can use it, then I think I can too. So there you go. I have glued down all the pieces that need to be glued down. And now I could leave this, oh, I'm gluing down some more pieces on the other side. I do the same thing. So that's what it looks like on the other side. Now I could leave that the way it is. And I found this little image that I thought would look cute on that page. That image comes from the Graphics Fairy website, but I believe it's from their membership section. So you have to be a member. It's a paid membership to get that image, I believe. Anyway, I could have left it like that, but I really thought that the yellow was a little bit too stark. So I'm adding some off-white paint to that, and this one is called Titan Buff by Golden. It's one of my favorite colors. It's just a beige, but it's such a beautiful beige. Or off-white, I guess, cream color. Anyway, I am going to dab that on a lot, actually. You could use another color if you wanted to. Looking at this again, when I record something in the moment, I'm just going with the flow, and then when I look at the video as I'm doing the voiceover, and see, that looks fine too, but I continue to add more. So when I'm looking at it in retrospect, I think I could have used, a little bit of blue maybe. I could have left it there. I ended up adding a little bit of pink because the background has a bit of red in it. So I think that looks good too. And again, I think that looks fine. I end up with a little bit adding a little bit more of that Titan Buff. But, and you can see there, I'm trying to kind of make that woven section kind of blend in with the background. So I pulled out a little scrap of sari silk ribbon that I had. It's a really scruffy little piece that I had, and I thought it would be good for her to stand on that instead of kind of floating in midair there in the corner. So there I am adding more of the Titan Buff. I think in a minute or two I add even more. There we go. But again, I think it looked fine without all of that, but I think it also looks fine with the additional paint. This all depends really on your taste, your likes, your dislikes. So I'm debating. Not sure what I'm debating. Decided to glue the sari silk ribbon there with my Art Glitter Dries Clear Glue. I use that when I have something a little bit heavier that I want to glue down, and that works really well. So next I'm going to glue down the little girl image, and I'm going to use my glue stick for that. I printed that out on copy paper, so it's pretty thin. The glue stick works fine. And actually the glue stick would have worked for the ribbon too. So I'm going to stand her there. And in a bit I'm going to find some words to add to my page. I like to add words usually to my art journal spreads. Okay, I'm just about finished, but a lot of times I like to add a dark border, and there I go adding more Titan Puff. But in a moment I will darken the edges of my pages with some brown distress ink. I like to add that darker border to a lot of the pieces that I make. I think it adds kind of a finishing touch. And there are my words. I'm just trying to figure out how to place them. And then I'll just glue them down with my glue stick. So there you see I'm adding the brown border. And at first I do it with the applicator, and that looks good, but then I decided I wanted an even darker edge, so then I go along the edge with the actual ink pad, which provides a kind of darker, almost a line edge, if that makes sense. Just being careful around the woven papers. So once I darken the edge a little bit more with that ink pad, my spread is done. I hope you enjoyed this super easy technique that you can use in your art journal, or you can do it on a separate piece of paper and then glue it into your art journal. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.